Morning, 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 morning. 12:54 a.m. January 2nd, 2006. Episode 23 of the $9 podcast. I'm Drewski. I moderate the TalkNShop gimmick. Reluctant member of Grunt Club. Reluctant. Jimmy Wang Yang levels of reluctant. Basically browbeaten into it. If you don't know what Grunt Club is, a long story. That's very inside. You have to be part of the Patreon Falcon's Nest to know the details. It's kind it's the kind of inside humor, you know, when you have like a group of friends that have like their own language, when they have their own, you know, little in jokes in jokes to to pop each other, and no, and outside world's going, what the fuck are they talking about? Yeah, this is one of those times, right? So it's the first $9 of 2026. Yeah. And you're gearing up for the year ahead. It's like about 3 days from now. Talking shop. The brothers are moving to Believe Pod, Believe Podcast Network. And Believe Podcast Network also handles Rob Van Dam's podcast, Conan's podcast, and a few others. It's like there's not really that many wrestling podcasts on the site, but majority of the podcasts that they do are like are hosted by pro athletes. They have certain podcasts where it's like every NFL team has their own dedicated podcast, and I guess they're doing good. Doing good business. It must have given the boys a good deal. Must have paid cash, kind of like what Noah had to do. No more PayPal payments for the boys. So, as far as I know, Dave Marquez is still looking for his PayPal. You know, that's a deep dive that the boys will get into 12th of November. Uh, the boys spent New Year's in Japan, getting over, getting over, and debuting for Noah at one of their big shows in Budokan. It's like 6,500 people. Nice turn, just very nice turnout, right? The boys got a real good reaction. They got a real good reaction considering again was kind of worried about his gear showing up. Don't know the he intimated in his Instagram that his bags were still in the LAX, which is like that's a wrestling nightmare basically. You have to you get that panic. You get that panic where it's like, oh, okay, how am I going to wrestle? Where's my gear? My gear, sometimes they have to hustle and like put together something that looks kind of like what they used to wrestle in. So I don't know like the full details of it, but again we'll elaborate on it further in the days to come. Probably like like Tuck Shop Live maybe Machine Getting Morning Radio. I am feeling the boys are like at the airport right now, probably on their getting ready to come back to US. You know, and hit and run. You know, you know, gives the Japanese steakhouses enough time to resupply their steaks because the boys have been cleaning them out. You know, what they hit Ribera like any good brothers will do, and now the gun has I believe a grand total of 14 Ribera jackets now. You know, you see people sell claim, sell what they claim to be like, they sell the barrel jackets on eBay. It's like, it seems like, you know, back of my mind, it's like, yeah, would you want one? Well, hell yeah, you want one. But here's the thing. It's considered like stolen valor because it's sort of considered stolen valor to have a barrel jacket if you're not a wrestler because they don't sell them. Well, tech, technically they don't sell them. Some people claim they've been able to buy them, but it just wouldn't be right. It's like, okay, if you're gifted a Rivera jacket by a wrestler, okay, I can see that, but that's a technicality, and I wouldn't know in no way, shape, or form wear it and wear one in public. But you gifted one like that, that's getting hung up, right? That's memorabilia. That's special. That's special. That's tradition right there. That's like I don't want to, don't want to sully tradition by parading around like a mark, big time mark. It's bad enough already. I'm wearing like AEW gear and stuff. But the reason I wear AEW gear is you know I've worn AEW gear since they first started because of one reason they employ my friends, right? I made it a vow to wherever my friends wrestle, I will support the hell out of them because they're giving my friends a place to work. Like when Pepper and Cherry Bomb are working TNA, yeah, I was supporting them there. It's like CCW, yes, right, and Boys in New Japan, yes, TNA, yes, yep, and WWE, yeah, yeah, I did to a point for WWE because quite frankly for me, it's like the Good Brothers in WWE, that was not the Good Brothers. That was neutered down version, right? Some of the stuff I see I cringe at now. But that's just me. That's just my opinion. My opinion probably wrong. More often than not, it usually is wrong. But I will at least admit it, not like that claim. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, or I never said that. No, I said it. And let's look ahead for 2026. We're about to enter WrestleMania season for WWE, and it's all you can do is shake your head. It's like, what are they doing, right? They're actually going to have CM Punk be hold on to the title until WrestleMania. I don't know. I really don't know. It's like there's so much uncertainty of what direction they're going to go to. You think that the Royal Rumble coming up, and they will that's when the direction usually make clear. Because remember this time from like from June to December is basically the down period for WWE where they don't really ramp up their storylines and stuff. At least that way was that way in the Vince days. They wouldn't really ramp up storylines until Royal Rumble because the Royal Rumble is basically the kickoff of it's the official kickoff of WrestleMania season. And Jericho going back, interesting. Yeah, it's interesting, but they're gonna treat it. After everything he said, going leaving in the past couple of times, they're gonna make him eat crap for about a year, right? Does he really want to? Does he really want to go into that, knowing that he's gonna be eating crap for a year and with a smile? Because I can totally see it. It's like what, you know, was it, it's a mythological WWE Hall of Fame ring worth it? right? Because there's no physical Hall of Fame. It's just basically who they, you know, who they would consider, worthy, right? As long as there's not a physical Hall of Fame, it's like they're arbitrarily just deciding. Because if there was a Hall of Fame, the Jumping Bomb Angels would have been in years ago. But the argument for Jumping Bomb Angels was they basically got their push. When at the time they were the most over thing in WWE, like in the mid '90s. But then then Moolah cut the legs out from under him, and it set women's wrestling back about a good 2, 3 decades, in my opinion. But again, it's my opinion, right? Um, as far as AEW is concerned, it's like their pay-per-views are ramping up in terms of they're doing better. They're doing better attendance wise, slowly but surely. When you start hitting pay-per-views out of the park every time, and people find out you're hitting pay-per-views out of the park every time, and plus how cheap their tickets are compared to the WWE ticket fiascos, right? It's a good thing. It's like the Revolution pay-per-view is going to be at Staples Center in LA, and they haven't announced any matches for it. It's like 3 months out. They've already sold about 7,700 tickets to that thing, right? There's a good chance they're going to have probably with a good enough card. They'll probably have 12, 13,000 in that place. Will it be a sellout? No, because Staples Center sells seats like about 18, 19,000. It's still damn impressive, right? And the way things are shaking out with the fallout from World's End is where basically MJF is target number one now because he's basically got a gauntlet of baby faces wanting to take the title from him. Right, he's gonna have to go through a murderer's row, and it's going to solidify. Yeah, it's going to solidify him taking on all these people. Big guaranteed, right? Especially if the end result is he goes through that gauntlet, and it's like they structure where it's like he's worn out by doing it, and then he gets caught by Eddie for like and Eddie gets like a Mick Foley championship for 2 weeks. That's all Eddie needs, right? Because they've already laid the seeds for like about a month or so ago. It's like when Danielson came out and said, "Eddie, you're going to win the big one." Yeah, he's going to win the big one. It will be this year. It will be this year, but it's a matter of when, right? Like I said, it's a murderer's row, and you still got the Death Rider situation, which is still going on. It's like you gotta have Death Riders or start Don Callis family, and kicks off way right around the same time of Wrestle Kingdom season, right? Yeah, it's going to be it's going to be a lively next 6 months at least, and as far as AEW is concerned, because it can be this time to really swing out toward California and Texas, all the warm weather states. It's sort of like what bands used to do. It's like the British bands like Iron Maiden would make it a point to tour California in February and March. Every time they would go on tour, so a lot of bands would do that because of the weather, right? And it should be interesting to see the fallout from Wrestle Kingdom as well, right? Because they have a lot, it's New Japan contract season afterwards, and it's like half the War Dogs contracts are up. Apparently, Big Take his contract is supposedly his New Japan contract is supposedly up too, right? And he has 3 contracts. Here's a possibility he could just be back down to two. Maybe he might. They might you might lose the belt the belt that to Suji at Wrestle Kingdom, and then it's then to take the belt off him and then lead New Japan to a new direction, yet another new direction. And but what intrigues me a lot is Kenny. That Kenny's going to be there for Tanahashi's retirement match. Okada's there, Kenny's there, and it's a lot of kayfabe wise, there's a lot of combustible elements in that there. A lot of history. A lot of history. Because usually because the next day after is they do New Year's Dash. New Year's Dash will set up their storylines for the next year. And that's usually when like a lot of factions change historically. Could we see like new Bullet Club guys? Because Finley's supposedly gone, right? A new leader coming in. Who could it be? You don't know. Because part of me thinks Kenny isn't back there just for that. Back there just for the Tanahashi thing. Not at all, right? I think there's something brewing. Right? I think there's something brewing, and it involves because, as far as I know, the boys are. They say they're not signed to New Japan. They're not signed. I think they're freelance, right? As far as I know, I'm not signed completely with Noah, even though they're going to go. They're going to end up facing Naito and Bushi for and yeah, add to their titles. It's sad to see Naito. Sad to see Naito how Naito's walking around. It's like when he came out in the main event of that card. God, I felt bad for him the way he was limping. Yeah, when you see time catches up to a lot of guys, it's like you'll see. It's like watching current Gangrel walking around, right? Compared to his Brood days, it's like, oh man, it's for love of the game, but there's part of you know, part of who doesn't know what they're going through, right? I can only guess. It's like it's consider true love of the game. That's all I can think of. That's all can. That's all I can put it down to. It'd be interesting because Blade's back, Pepper's back. Both him and Butch are taking bookings. Yeah, wouldn't be surprised if they showed up at the Crash, take on the boys. Speaking of, the boys will be back out here in 2 weeks on the 16th. Yeah, yeah, on the 16th for the Crash, and maybe Great Brother Andrade can actually wrestle on the card now. Now that he's free to do so. That Roosh had him lawyer up and basically get basically intimidate the hell out of WWE to not enforce to not challenge like the non-compete thing. It's basically a good for Andrade. It's like we'll see that guy be successful wherever he goes because he deserves it. Right, he's put in the work. Right, he seems like a good guy from what I hear. He seems like a good guy that gets caught up in like in seems to be a magnet for situations. Some people like that. See, what we gotta look forward to. Also, gotta look forward to in the coming year. We got WrestleMania in Vegas in April. no idea what's going to be like. No idea at all. Do I really care? No, I'm not really worried about it. So what I'm what I'm more interested in is uh, what's going to happen with in in terms of the in terms of the growth of the Patreon, because Machine Gun keeps intimating that there's going to be changes and there's going to be improvements to the Patreon. And so far, so far he hasn't really been up on the details of that. It's going to come out eventually. It will come out eventually. It's like I don't want to speculate on it, but he has intimated on more a couple of occasions that the people that do the podcasts on the Patreon are on Bleav's radar as well, apparently, which surprises the hell out of me. But I'll believe it when I see it. I've seen enough silly stuff in my day to take everything with a grain of salt when it comes to that. Um, yeah, I think that's a good excuse to like end stuff. I gotta put together the podcast PDs, my podcast PC right now after I'm done doing this because I got everything ready to go. Everything, everything is all laid out, ready to hook up. And, you know, yeah, new screwdriver gimmick. It's basically it's a lazy man screwdriver because it has a attachment where you put the screw in and holds it for you. So it's like you can do it with one hand. Not cue the jokes on what you do with the other hand. Degenerate. Um, So apparently, Fox decided to make merch with my shirt, but with an AI version of my face on it. Well, they cleared it with me first, right? You know, basically there was some arm twisting involved, right? And arm twisting involved in the promise of pain, of promise of a cut. And yeah, I'll believe it when say Gallows will pay me before anybody else will, which is probably never. So I'm not gonna waste, I'm not gonna spend time worrying about it. So you'll know it's AI because I can't cross my eyes. Never been able to. You'll see when you see the shirt. So yeah, apologize in advance for the shirts. Right? Um, Speaking of shirts, my merch store is still going on. At $9 podcast.dashery.com. Got like a ton of items ready to go. Competitively priced. It's like some would say way too much merch for like for way too much merch for a podcast that only has like less than 10 subscribers. But look, word of mouth. That's Rome wasn't built in a day. Yeah, Rome wasn't built in a day, neither was Jim Rome. So merch is. Yep. Well, it's like I'm playing the long game here.